A big congrats on Endangered Species. Fun, exciting, and it's all for a great cause. I've been telling everyone that.
Oh, good. Well, that is true. Thank you very much for doing that. I appreciate it. Yeah, there is. It's not a message movie, but there is a message.
That's right. Now, take us from the very beginning, though, Miss MJ. What got you interested in co-writing and directing Endangered Species?
Oh, well, we have to go back even further than that because I've been passionate about science and nature my whole life since I was tiny. I wanted to be a vet. I actually wanted to be a wildlife vet in Africa. That was my great ambition since I was tiny. And I ran wildlife hospitals and I was a veterinary assistant when I was a teenager. And I used to fly falcons and do all those kind of crazy things. And I crapped out of my studies, so I couldn't become a vet. So I ended up working as an assistant to a wildlife filmmaker. And as a teenager, and they taught me filmmaking and stills photography. And then I was invited to be on TV talking about science and nature, and I can talk about animals for hours. So that was kind of what I was doing. And I bought a video camera during that time. And everybody said, "Oh, you're going to make films about animals, and these are the big old VH, ones that took up your whole shoulder." And so I did that. And I said, no, I don't want to make films about animals. I want to blow stuff up. Because that was the other thing I really liked. I loved American movies. I really, really like big genre stuff. I like thrillers and horror and fantasy. Those are my great passions. But I never thought I'd become a film director because in the UK, when I grew up, there was just no path to that. In America, you want to be a filmmaker, you come to Hollywood, right? In the UK, there's like one street in London. It's not the same scale of production. So, but I slogged away at that for years and years, making my action stuff and a fantasy movie and some horror stuff and all things I really loved, but I never found a way to bring my passions together. And that was the key. It's like I was always like, okay, I'm privately interested in conservation and the environment, but am I going to do this? And then I kind of came out as trans and I became happier with myself. And I just thought, you know what? I just want to do stuff that I really care about. And I still want to blow stuff up. And I still like crashing cars and shooting guns and all those other things. But now with Rogue, my previous movie, which was the one with Megan Fox, and that was about lion farming as well as being an action movie. And this one, that's the kind of synthesis. And I wanted to make a movie with endangered species, which allowed me to have a kind of conversation about poaching and environmental issues whilst making a film which was, a fun family survival action drama.
Right.
There's the least gunfighting and explosions of anything I've ever done in this movie, because it leans into kind of a family conversation as well. Yeah. And that's because I wrote this with my daughter. Yeah. So, the dynamic of the banter and the argument between everybody, it's a very real kind of family dynamic. And I put them into an exotic place and have terrible things happen to them. So it's a kind of perfect movie for me.
That's right. I was going to ask you that. Thank you for bringing that up. You co-wrote this with your daughter, Isabella, who also stars in the movie as the petulant daughter, Zoe.
Yes, she does.
How was it working with her? I mean, in such close quarters.
Well, it's the second movie we've done together because she co-wrote Rogue with me.
Okay.
And is in that movie as well. And actually, she's in a film I made called Solomon Kane, which I did like 10 years ago, and she's very little witch, which actually is the perfect casting for her. She's not listening, it's fine. But it's great. I mean, listen, I love working with my family. It's like filmmaking is a sort of family kind of thing. You create a pseudo family every time you create a set, and you want to be close to people and everyone feels engaged and happy. Bringing my kids on, and my oldest daughter was a makeup artist on the movie. She designed all the makeup, so she came out to Africa as well, to Kenya. Izzy, who doesn't particularly want to be an actress, but she's a very, very good writer. I keep putting her in the films because she keeps writing characters that are basically just like her.
Yeah.
So I said, well, why am I going to put anybody else in? You write you, and then I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Anything was this time around, she had to play an American, and I'd never heard her do an American accent. I kept saying, can you do an American accent? And she said, yeah. I said, could you just do it for me so I can do it? No, I'll show you. You'll hear it on the set. I'm like, I really need to know. He's like, no, it's fine, don't worry. And a friend of mine, Philip Winchester, who plays the dad, he said, I've heard it, don't worry, it's fine.
Yeah, she did a great job. And yeah, it's like a family affair, right? With Philip, who's been working with you forever and ever. I mean, you might as well be family as well, right?
Totally. Oh, we are. I mean, like, I having people you trust and love around you is fantastic. And also with this, for Phil, it was a lockdown movie, so it was a challenge for everybody. So I couldn't, lots and lots of people wouldn't travel last year. I completely understand. So I called Philip and said, hey, I'm doing this thing. it's a really different role for you. It's not, you know, you're not running around with a gun, you're not being the hero, you're not the villain, but you are a very ambiguous, conflicted character. Are you interested? And yeah, I'll come and do that. I mean, we only shot for 3 or 4 weeks, so it wasn't very long anyway. And then, you know, Rebecca Romaine, who I didn't know at all, she's like, I've been to Kenya once for a long time ago. I want to go back and I want to bring my family. Turns out that she's married to Jerry O'Connell, which I didn't know at all. And Jerry's like, I'll be in the movie. I'm like, okay, I got a really good role for you. So it became like families within families. And that's a wonderful way to do it.
That is great. Now, speaking of Philip Winchester, who plays Jack, the conflicted, uptight dad, Jack, with a good character arc in the end, by the way.
Yeah.
Told me yesterday that this could be a part of a trilogy. Am I right? Or
we are kind of. I am prepping my 3rd movie in this sort of Africa conservation thriller world, and if it is within my power on Earth, I will put Philip Winchester in that one, because this one's out on the ocean. So we're going to be in a sinking boat. So again, I need somebody who's prepared to get stuck in, because I've done terrible things to Philip over the years. I've made him jump out of burning planes and put him in front of explosions and made him crash cars. So it seems only fair that I keep doing mean things to him, so long as he keeps turning up.
I love how you do, you know, like what you said, you put all your passion into film, you know. So maybe you'll do a film with starring a trans with wildlife thing, and you know what I mean, with action and blowing things up. I love that.
Who's to say that's not what I'm already planning on?
I am looking forward to that, Miss MJ. So with Endangered Species, I was expecting a man versus wild kind of film. We got that. There's some exciting moments with that. But we also got something much more profound, the truth about illegal wildlife trade. Yes. It's not a message movie, but tell us more about that.
Well, I mean, the underlying theme of the whole piece really is what we're doing to our planet. And I think, honestly, the only conversation anybody should be having right now is the planet is dying, our life support system is failing. Everything else that is happening is kind of inconsequential compared to the fact that at some point our planet won't support life anymore, and we're going to be riding that crashing spaceship. So any conversation, anything that starts a conversation like that is good for me. And I know some people disagree with it. I think the science is correct. I think we are in trouble. I think you look out your window and you can see things are changing. The illegal wildlife trade is just a small part of how we're treating, you know, how badly we're treating our planet. It's worth, so there's human trafficking worth billions, drugs are worth billions, weapons are worth billions, and wildlife trade is worth billions. And they're all kind of tied up with transnational crime. And even though on the ground, you can, you know, and the poacher in the movie, who's Jerry O'Connell's bad guy, at some point says, you know, who are we to say that indigenous people can't utilize the resources around them? You know, we've already messed up our part of the planet. And we're looking down at these developing nations and saying, you mustn't do that. And I think that's an important conversation to have as well, because it's very, very easy for us. You know, we've destroyed all our megafauna, we've destroyed our environment, you know, and we're using the resources from other countries. There's a little bit in the movie where one of the characters talks about cobalt mining in the Congo for our cell phone batteries. Yeah, nobody's complaining about that right now, you know, because we get what we need.
Right.
So the hypocrisy of all of us, myself included, of getting, you know, we get what we want, but we want you to not do what you want to do or need to do to sort of feed your family or make a living. The great tragedy of COVID is that, certainly for the African tourism industry, is that nobody's gone there. There's no dollars coming in. There's no international resources. These people, you know, the people can't make a living. They're not feeding their family. So they're turning back to exploiting the wildlife in a way which is, you know, detrimental. You know, poaching has gone through the roof again in the last year.
Yeah.
So because there's no tourism, so the horrible truth about conservation is that wildlife needs to have a dollar value in some form or another, and it's got to be worth more alive than dead. The moment it's worth more dead, animals will be destroyed. You know, the rhino is teetering horrifically on the brink of extinction. Elephants are on the decline. Lions have been used. Tigers have been used. The poor pangolin, which is this little scaly anteater, is the most trafficked animal on earth. We're doing terrible, terrible things for no good reason, just because of certain cultural issues, certain desires for medications which aren't real. The list is endless. Even just illegal logging and taking down the forests. You know, every one of those things is a problem which needs to be talked about. And my little movies sort of have that conversation.
Yeah.
But they're a good time too. Let's not get everybody depressed. They're a good time.
Oh yeah, I mean, at least in your little movie, the rhinos fight back without revealing anything.
A little bit, yeah. A
A
little bit.
little bit. Now, Endangered Species opens on May 28th. What do you hope for viewers to get after watching the film?
I want them to be entertained. The movie really exists for the last few minutes of what I want to say, but really, as a genre filmmaker, as somebody who kind of got into movies because I just love being entertained, it should be an entertaining film. If it's provocative and you have a conversation, fantastic. So long as you enjoy it first and foremost, that's its job. Right? That's why I did it. I love making it. I hope the audience enjoy it. Maybe they think about it, and if they get any of those things, then job done.
Oh, very good. I think they will love it and get excited by it. Thank you again. Big congrats again.
Thank you,
Asante
Manny.
pongezi bahati nujema. That's thank you, congrats, and good luck in Swahili.
I knew that's honey. Thank you so much, honey. That's wonderful.
Asante.